How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how I made my track Sleep Better. This track has just dropped and you can find it on my Spotify. It's also on SoundCloud and all that other shit. And if anyone's using Apple Music, but I don't know who the fuck uses Apple Music, it's on there as well. See, I actually started this track about a year ago, and then I also made a video on how to make the bass like 10 months ago or something like that. And then I basically got round to finishing it, getting it mixed, mastered and shit like a few months back. And I've sort of just been sat on it and I was like, I don't know why I'm just not releasing it. So yeah, I've set it off release and I think it dropped yesterday. Here's a preview of the track. I really like this track. It's probably the only track I've ever made, which I actually like. So have a listen. Great, so there's a lot to cover in this video, so I might actually end up splitting it in two. We'll see how we get on. Great, so I'm firstly going to show you the drums. So firstly we have this kick. This is actually from the Speed Gauge pack. And yeah, it's just obviously hitting on every beat. Then on top of that we have this shake loop. So this is from the Trance pack, Trance Volume 1. Then we got a clap on top of that. Another clap. Then I really wanted quite a bit of energy because I find the energy of a track basically comes from the hi-hats. So we've already got the shakers obviously from this shaker loop here. Then I've added a hat straight down the middle, maybe a little bit loud. I've got a hat in the right and then a hat in the left. So lots of layers of hats. And then when it gets to this section, the sort of like second part of the drop, I added in this ride, which has just add energy. Like without it, but this really helps her make it more energetic, you know. So yeah, this is just acid ride, and obviously the notes go down, up, down, up, down. Yeah, and then of course we've got the bell. So yeah, this is from that Trance pack as well, which is really important for that sort of DJ heartstring sound. That's the MIDI if you want to copy that. But yeah, it's pretty simple. Yeah, you can hear that quite well in the mix, it's quite loud. And in the first drums, so I've got this shake loop. And in the second one, I've accidentally used a different shake loop. And instead of changing it to this one, which is better, I left it in. So the song has a different drums. Like there's this one, you know what I mean, it's quite skippy. But there's this one. I guess it's more like closed. But yeah, for some reason, the first drums and the second drop have different. Cool. And so yeah, that is the drums. Pretty simple. In terms of processing, there's actually no processing. I don't really process the drums that much. Obviously, yeah, as I said, I send it off to get mixed and mastered because I'm pretty shit myself. I prefer just working on the production and stuff like that. Try and leave them quite minimal because then it gives the person who's mixing and mastering it more room. If I like chuck loads of reverb and compression and all that sort of shit on it, and by the time it gets to them, there's not much room for them to play with it. I feel like people will overcomplicate effects a lot of the time. Great, and then we've got that. Let's have a look at the bass. Obviously, I've covered this bass in a lot more detail in another video. Here's a screenshot of that video so you can go and watch that later. So yeah, the preset I've used for the bass is actually this Close to Me, and it's from my Trance Volume 1 Serum preset pack. This pack is fucking amazing. It's also made for Serum 1, but it also works in Serum 2 as well. But yeah, it's got like tons of basses, leads, basically literally everything you need to be making Trance, like sort of DJ Heartstring, Upper 90, those sort of guys. I've also just dropped a Trance Volume 2, and you can get them all with all the drums in like this Trance Mega Bundle, and you basically get it all for a cheaper price. This bass, I'll show you how to make one roughly from scratch. Obviously, it's not going to sound exactly the same because it's more dialed in, but we get one pretty similar. Let me first though show you the MIDI. We're in the key of G sharp major scale. Yeah, just G, so obviously on the offbeat, B sharp, A sharp, and down to G sharp. Really simple MIDI pan. And yeah, I'll show you now how to obviously make that bass sound. Cool, so let me show you how this patch is made then. So firstly, turn on that sub oscillator, select a sine wave, pitch it down by an octave. Turn on oscillator A, basic shapes, and select a saw wave. We then go to the filter, make sure A is selected, MG load 24. Envelope 1, make it look like this, so with a decent bit of sustain and quite a short decay. Then we drag that onto the filter cutoff, and yeah, we've got the cutoff at 20 hertz. Yeah, the filter cutoff to 69. Added a bit of drive, added a bit of fat, and a bit of res. We then come over here to make it a bit wider, because right now it's quite boring and narrow. Turn on this dimension, make sure the mix of the hyper's all the way off. Compression, make it a bit louder, nice bit of reverb, and lastly just an EQ taken off that top end. And then that's the sound. Now we need to have a look at the synths. So firstly we have this pad. Pretty simple pad to be honest, and yeah, it's from that same Trance Volume 1 pack. Essentially all we've got is a saw wave, 2 unison, and then turn on this filter, taking out some of that top end. Then we come over here, just add a chorus, bit of reverb, and an EQ. Really simple. And the MIDI for that is also really simple. So it's basically sort of string. So yeah, it's the key of C minor. So yeah, then on top of that we have a string. This is just sort of classic house string. This is the Roland SRX. And it's the Epic strings. So yeah, if you haven't got this, then you can also use the Korg M1. That's got string presets. Or you could just Google like free string. Because unfortunately in Ableton, there's not really any good string synths. But yeah, that's just a single note of D sharp. Next, we have my favorite part of the whole song, which is the lead. And I'm going to do a second video on this in more detail on how to make your own lead and that sort of shit. Because I really like this lead. This is a really cool sound, or I think it is anyway. So yeah, basically just like the kick on every beat. And then up here, we've got it on the offbeat, and then that sort of plays down. And then there's a lot of automation going on with the synth. So just got the filter opening, as you can see here, it's moving up slowly. And this creates a sort of classic trancey sound. And then I added a phaser here. Cool, yeah, so this is basically 2 saw waves. So I've gone for the analog NB saw, really nice thick saw waves. And one's pitched down an octave and one's on 0. And then the key to it is the unison is 8 on here and 12. And then we've kept the detune at 020 and 020 on that as well. And then this envelope is creating this sort of plucking sound on here. But yeah, I'm going to go over this in way more detail in the next video. So I feel like this is kind of the star of the show. Next we have this sad lead. So yeah, exact same notes as that other lead, but the notes are a bit shorter. Again, Serum, that same pack is the lead FM lead. And yeah, we've got 2 basic shapes, so basic shapes, and then we've got 2 sine waves. So we've got FM from B on here, and then you put the level of this down to 0, and then we've dragged that up so you control how much FM synthesis is happening. So without it, so it just helps it punch through the mix a little bit more. Without it, it's a little bit flat. Too much. Sounds like an alien. So I've gone for like a nice sort of middle ground. In terms of effects, it's got a bit of delay and a bit of reverb. But yeah, quite a nice simple, sits in the background nicely. Doesn't get in the way of anything. Once you've made like a good MIDI like this, I've used that for this pad pretty much. I've just flipped that bottom note up. And I've used it for the main lead, and I've used it for this sad lead. It was intro lead, which is the same basically. We've then got this ecstasy lead. I probably can't go over this because it's not mine. This is from Sound Factory and it's from Artist Sound Volume 4. See, I can't really show that because it's not mine, but I can show the MIDI. So Went for that sort of, yeah, ecstasy. Just Google how to make Miracle Maker lead. And then there'd be like, I'm sure there'd be videos. The MIDI, I went for that sort of ecstasy. But yeah, it's basically just these notes. That's repeating itself onwards. And then the same here. This rhythm is just used a lot in trance because it's really easy and it fits on so much stuff. So it doesn't get in the way of the bass and stuff like that. I do find it with trance, if you're trying to make it uplifting, you've got to sort of rise up. So, as you can see, the notes are sort of going up, up, up. And lastly, we can obviously have a look at the effects. So we've just got this crash. Got this riser. I try and keep the effects fairly minimal because I find like putting effects in really boring, but you do need white noise effects. You just do. Otherwise your track's going to sound really boring. But I don't enjoy putting white noise and stuff in. I find it tedious. So yeah, we've just got crashes and one white noise. That's literally it. We've also got this snare build. So it just starts and then doubles in speed. To get that sort of snarey building attack, put it in a sampler, sustain all the way down, and then decay, keep that low. It's like a marching band drum. When all that like fucking sustain and release come in. Lastly, the vocals. In case you're wondering where the vocals are from, they're from Splice. So yeah, in terms of effects on the vocals, there's already effects on the vocal itself. And then the guy who's mastered it has added some effects. Or maybe not. So a little bit harsh, to be honest. On this Vox 2, there's a delay. I've got this delay on the return, way all the way up, bit of feedback, and then also here, got a 2.8, minus 2.8. But yeah, that is the track, guys. Obviously, next video, which I'll also put out this week, probably on Thursday, is going to be going over that lead and how you can sort of make your own, you know. Great, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Please go stream the track. And yeah, cheers, guys.